You're listening to Tuned In to NoCo. I'm Priscilla, and today I'm speaking with Hillary Simmons, Executive Director of A Little Help. How are you today, Hillary?
Doing well, thanks. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, of course. For those who are unfamiliar, can you please give us some information about A Little Help?
Absolutely. A Little Help is a nonprofit. We're helping older adults to age well in their homes. So we connect them with neighbors who volunteer to provide services like transportation, yard work, snow shoveling, handy help around the home, things that help our older neighbors to age well in their homes in a connected way, in a safe way, in a healthy way.
That's wonderful. Sometimes we don't realize it's funny. Just a little help can go a long way, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
And how did you find your way to A Little Help?
I've actually been a part of A Little Help now for over 10 years. I just celebrated my anniversary about a week and a half ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I actually saw it on a job board a decade ago, and the mission really resonated with me because I know my own grandparents, it was so important for them to age well in their own homes. And we were fortunate to be able to, get them the care they needed in their home. But it's not so easy to come by these days, and not everybody can, have a certain level of care. But I know it was so important for them. And when my grandpa, he had a cardiac event and was in rehab, and he was there maybe a week, and the whole time he was just like, get me home. I want to go home to where he was comfortable and where his wife was. And
it's not the same. It's not the same
his
when you're
neighborhood.
not. Yeah. And let them keep that independence. It's hard to come to terms that you're aging anyway, but if you can help with those little things, again, every time I say little things now, it's going to be, get it?
Yeah. And actually, that's how we got our name.
Because it's just a little help.
Yeah. we did focus groups, and we asked folks, and they said, I don't need help. I just need a little help with snow shoveling sometimes, or a little help getting groceries sometimes. And we said, okay, we'll be a little help. No problem.
That's perfect. It works out.
Yeah. And it can really be difficult to ask for help and to admit that you're at a point where you might need a little help. But we have neighbors who are willing to do it, and it's not a burden. It's not, you don't have to lose any face or lose pride. Neighbors are happy to help, and we want our older adults to feel safe and feel connected in their homes and in their communities. So, our older adults do us a favor by graciously accepting help and by being reciprocal members of the community, helping share their stories and share the history of neighborhoods. There's so many folks who move in from out of state and are missing this kind of key history to Colorado and the roots of our communities, and our older adults provide that. So there's just so much value back and forth. We want to have reciprocal relationships among neighbors. So it's not just older adults as recipients of help. It's older adults participating in community, and sometimes they get a little help along the way. So, folks shouldn't feel too afraid to give us a call.
I love it. Can you tell me, Hillary, how big of an issue is what you're trying to help out with here in Northern Colorado?
All of us are aging every day, and nationally, 10,000 folks turn 65 a day. I mean, more and more folks are aging, and more neighbors are choosing to stay in their communities or even moving to Northern Colorado to age because it's such a wonderful place to live. But that means we need to have support in place. And so I think, the sector is still catching up with what the demand will be as more and more neighbors want to age in their homes. The AARP did a study several years ago now, but 90% of folks want to age in their homes. And I don't blame them. I want the same. And sometimes you need a little help to do that. And I think more and more demand is going to come down the line. Especially, we saw during the pandemic that it really proved the model, right? Nobody's wondering if it's important for older adults to be connected to their neighbors anymore. It's a given. Deliver groceries to people's doorsteps and pick up prescriptions and get them toilet paper when nobody could get toilet paper. Older neighbors need to be connected to their communities, and our communities need to be connected to our older neighbors as well. So, this is a growing challenge, but one thing that's plentiful in all of our neighborhoods are good neighbors. So we equip and mobilize and background check and coordinate those neighbors to help out. So, I don't see it as a huge daunting challenge, but it's an opportunity to engage more of the community and get intergenerational neighbors of all ages involved.
And how do you connect people? Is it like you try to get people that need help and that can help them that are in their same neighborhood close by?
Yeah, it's really neighbors helping neighbors, and that hyper locality is so important, on our volunteer side because it is very flexible and opt in when you're volunteering. But on our older adult side as well, because we want folks to know their neighbors. So we really do try to make those connections as locally as possible. For things like snow shoveling, you don't want to be driving all over town when it's snowing to remove somebody else's snow on the other side of town. We're going block by block, neighbor by neighbor, trying to make those connections and get somebody close by.
And these two questions kind of go together. One is, in your time with A Little Help, how have you seen an impact in Northern Colorado? And do you have any personal stories that you'd like to share? Obviously, you don't have to name any names or anything. I just didn't know if there was something that has stuck with you more than others in a decade of doing this.
Yeah. We have a lot of stories, and that's one of the wonderful things about A Little Help is, we're building stories every day because these are real relationships that are forming and friendships, and they're meaningful. One of my favorite Northern Colorado impact stories is Steve, our Northern Colorado coordinator, was doing a warm welcome. So when we have a new member, we welcome them to the fold. We meet them, we get a sense of their needs. We bring a little bag full of goodies and resources and just get to know our folks and put a face to a name. So Steve was doing a warm welcome visit with a new member whose husband had passed away within the last year. And, he said after they had visited for a while, he said, "Is there anything I can help with right now? Like, what can I do for you while I'm here?" And she said, "Would you mind reaching up on the top shelf where my wedding album is? I haven't been able to look at it since my husband passed because I can't reach it." And she wasn't confident getting onto a ladder, some balance issues. And so, a little help, right, to get that album down and give a really wonderful moment to this new member, a story that Steve then shared with our staff. And we try to share these stories amongst ourselves and hear the impact of what we're doing. And, that just meant so much to us because it meant so much to her. This was something she wasn't able to reach and see and look at as she was grieving her husband. To provide that, it's often a simple thing that we provide, whether it's transportation or snow shoveling or weeding the garden, but it means a whole lot.
It seems like something very simple, but very needed. And I've said this on this show a lot, that little things aren't trivial. Little things can mean nothing to someone and then everything to somebody else. So that's amazing. I love it. You could just do that for somebody and it's, it's amazing.
And those moments just add up over time too, and we've been around for over 15 years now as an organization. And, every day something little is happening. That's really something big. And a lot of our older adults, they send us thank you notes that say, "You should change your name to A Lot of Help." And, I always say, we want to make sure we've got, boundaries and we're asking what's reasonable of a neighbor, but we do often go above and beyond and provide what feels like a lot of help to our neighbor.
And for our listeners who want to get involved, how can they donate to or volunteer for A Little Help?
We are always accepting new volunteers and new donors and support, of course. alittle.help.org is our website, alittle.help.org. Our office phone number, you can also call that our main operations office, is 720-242-9032 if folks have questions and want to get involved. But like I mentioned with volunteering, it really is opt-in. It's really flexible. You can volunteer on your schedule. You don't have to take a set shift. Once you're background checked and have access to our volunteer portal, you can search, by type of service you want to provide, by area. We have got mapping features, and really you get to opt in when you're able to. And all of our opportunities are family friendly as well. We do big service Saturday events in the spring and fall. We've got those coming up in early May. And that's a, bring the whole family type of thing. We've had infants strapped on backs and 85-year-old volunteers and every generation in between participating. We even have folks who, bring their kiddos along when they're driving someone to the doctor. And that youthful energy and exchange is really, really wonderful and really where a lot of the heart of what we do lies. So I encourage everybody to get involved. And like we've been talking about, it can be a really simple thing that you help out with, but it means so much.
And if it's the other way around, for our listeners who need the help, is that the same way that they can go about asking for help?
Exactly. Yeah, we've got our member and our volunteer application up on the website, alittlehelp.org. But you can also call in and we can send you a paper application or we can go through the application over the phone. Our operations team is wonderful and they will walk you through the process and get you on board.
Great. Let's talk about your events coming up.
Absolutely. Service Saturdays are big community events. So on May 7th and May 14th in Fort Collins and then in Berthoud and Loveland, respectively, we're going to be out with hundreds of neighbors helping our older adults to get ready for spring and summer. So we're helping wash windows, weed gardens, do some planting, cut down vines, all that kind of spring maintenance to help get our older adults ready for summer, which, on a snowy day, it's hard to think about, oh man, we're getting ready for the warm season. A lot of it is like bringing out the patio furniture. And then in the fall, we'll put it back away, or the swamp cooler, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So those are really great opportunities to volunteer as a family or as a group. We work really well with like school groups or corporate groups. We'd love to help bring your team together and have a meaningful experience. It's a really great kind of before and after. You've done something, and the homeowner is there. Sometimes directing you from the porch, but usually offering cookies and things like that. And part of the work is also just getting to know the person you're serving. So those are really fun events coming up at the beginning of May, and we'd love to have you come out for that. Or if you're needing a little help in your yard to get ready as the seasons change, give us a call.
To my 7-year-old who listens and my husband, we're doing this, so you better get ready, Leah and Chad. We're doing some more spring cleaning. We would love to have you.
Yay.
I just want to involve her in stuff, but some stuff, especially volunteer stuff, you have to be 18. So
oh yeah, we have no age minimum, especially if you're with your parents. And again, bringing that kind of youthful energy to the mix is so wonderful and gives a lot more opportunity for that reciprocity from our older adults. Mm-hmm. So we love to see that.
I love to see interactions between, especially babies and little kids. Like I have a 2.5-year-old and older people. There's just their faces light up and they're just like, it takes them back or whatever. I love the interaction.
Absolutely. We love seeing that. And it just changes the dynamic too. Instead of feeling like, oh, somebody is coming to do the chores that I used to do and I'm not able to do anymore. It's more about, oh, wow, what can I teach this person who's at my house? And it really does kind of just light up the rooms.
And what do you think lies ahead for A Little Help in this new year?
We are growing. We're really excited to have had a lot of interest into Weld County. So I know you're joining us from Windsor, and we really want to intentionally grow our presence in Windsor, in Johnstown, in Greeley, to get on kind of the other side of that I-25 corridor. Because we know there are more older adults who need a little help. And, this model really can work in urban, suburban, rural settings.
Everywhere.
And, so I just feel it's our duty to continue to grow our footprint because, with every new area we serve, that's a new population of older adults whose lives we're going to increase the quality of life of. Mm-hmm. So we are growing this year. We're thrilled about that. We have a new Northern Colorado director coming on board, Colleen Meyer. She's starting on Monday. We're thrilled to have her after 20-some years with CSU. We've got a lot in our future. I'm really excited. And a lot of it's been just organizational capacity, being the best organization we can be to serve our older adults as best as we can.
Well, I wish you guys the best. I hope you keep growing and everyone needs help. So
thank you. Yeah. And like I said, every neighborhood is full of good neighbors. So we're always trying to get the word out so folks know they've got a great opportunity to volunteer.
We're also in a place where we need to prove that not everyone's mean, or it's not always a bad situation. They're good people and there's kindness still. And that's great.
Yes, definitely. More community connections, the better.
Yeah. Hillary, what else would you like listeners to know?
We'd love to have you out for Service Saturday on May 7th or May 14th. Check out our website, alittlehelp.org, for more information about volunteering, about receiving services, or about donating. We can't do it without our donors who have been wonderful and generous. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to share what we do. We love what we do, and we know it's it's important and valuable. And we know we can give our community members a great opportunity to connect. So come on out to something we're doing.
I really want to thank you for coming on to Tuned In Tinoco and talking to our listeners about A Little Help.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to see your family out at Service Saturday.
Oh, we'll be there.
Excellent.
Again, that was Hillary Simmons with A Little Help. Learn more at alittle.help.org/Northern Colorado.